the coach. You're locked into the NFL on EA Sports.
First opened way back in 1924, but renovated in 2002. There's a look inside venerable Soldier Field in Chicago. Today, after a crazy opening weekend, it's on to week 2, and we've got a good one here between the Miami Dolphins. And not a bad return here. He gets it out to the 25-yard line. And the Chicago Bears. So here come the Dolphins now as they get set to take over on offense. And they're led out by a guy who learned from one of the great ones in his first few years in Tom Brady. This is Jimmy Garoppolo.
When you're back up to one of the all-time great players, if you don't spend time picking that guy's brain or just watching and observing how he does things to increase your game, then you've wasted that time. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is that type of a player. I think those lessons learned have a chance to transmit themselves very well.
It'll go as a loss of a yard on the game's first play. Second down.
Here we go.
A loss of a yard there to start out. That leads to a 2nd and 11.
Kill.
This is Carson. And this one goes nowhere. Losing yardage back at the 22. This will be a loss of 3, and now a much tougher third down looming. So time to start going in the other direction as they come up now 3rd and long. Garoppolo, nowhere to escape, and he goes down.
Well, that's a pretty darn... Good start to his season, huh? A sack in the opener, adds a second one here. That tells you about his offseason. He came in determined to have a big year, and it's paying off.
On is the punt team now as this one's sent away. Nearly a huge return, as it is still a very good one. 24 yards. And it'll be a short field for the Bears as they take over 1st and 10. They'll try and start this drive in the air. Oh, he's got a man wide open, complete. A very solid gain of 27.
And there's a completion to the tight end. And look at the size of these players nowadays. At that spot, 6'4", 6'5", and up. A lot of guys used to be basketball players, somehow came back to football. And that's really good for the game of football. You're getting better athleticism, great hand-eye coordination, guys who know how to control their bodies when they run their routes.
So not quite a 1st and goal just yet as they come up now 2nd and inches. 2nd down and inches. And this is going to be intercepted. Picked off by Jerome Baker. They told us repeatedly earlier in the week in our meetings, we need some plays from our defense here on the road early. They got one.
And don't think they were above all week long pointing out to their defense that the other defense is rated higher than them. You going to let that happen, guys? Is that how we're going to play? And they responded to the challenge.
And he'll be upended after a gain of 5, up to the 25-yard line.
Here we go.
Here's a 2nd and 5 now from the 25.
56 is the mic. Blue dance.
Here's Carson. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage.
Your trip ends here, baby. Your trip ends here.
Well, we just saw a great example of what we talked about with his coach prior to the game. He's definitely one of the better linebackers at reading a play and flowing to make the stop before it turns into
and a sack. They get to him defensively, but the flag comes in, and I think the D jumped. And that one was relatively easy to see. I noticed that from up here.
Here we go.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot, does it? Sometimes you get multiples. What I always love on these offsides is when each side points at the other. Hey, you did it. No, you didn't. They deciphered that one correctly.
Got it complete to Rodgers. Oh, this is going to depend on the spot, but it's not a very generous one. He looks to be about a yard or so short.
Well, we hear so often how tackling has become almost a lost art in the NFL game. But it's so important to tackle well on these receivers, especially in a play like this one. 3rd down, they gave him the underneath stuff. You got to go up and make the tackle right away.
"35 yards on the return. Picked up some good blocks as well. And this offense, they're going to have excellent field position. They take over with a 1st and 10 on the short side of the field.
Who that? Alert flare, alert flare, flare, flare.
Trying to shake off the interception. He'll look to throw. And that'll wind up incomplete. Trying to give his man room to run under it, but it's 2nd down.
The beauty of being able to play a zone defense when you can sit back and see the ball coming out of the quarterback's hands, guess what? Creates a lot of confusion. You have a muddle in the middle of the field where you can go make a play on the football.
Pressure from his right, and he goes down hard, flat on his back. They were able to win last week despite him being sacked 4 times. They might need to tighten the reins a little bit, or this one may not end in another victory.
You're right about that. They can't count on just winning the game no matter what happens.
And the pressure gets to him again. The tank, DeMarcus Lawrence with a sack.
There's a lot of discussion in the offseason about him having a big year and getting to the quarterback. They held him without a sack in week 1, but how about here? Finally gets his first one of the season.
In the offseason, said he changed his diet, leaner, feels so good this year. Excited to see what type of a season he can have. Now on 4th down, they throw the deep ball, but it winds up to be incomplete. Boy, a real head-scratcher there. And the Dolphins get the football in great field position. Well, that, my friend, I guess is the definition of a head-scratcher. 4th and long, this stage of the game. What were they doing?
I just have to believe that he looked at the situation, still in the first half, decided if there was a time to be aggressive, now was it, because there's still time to make up for it if things don't go right. Of course,
here we go.
a lot of questions on this one, and look, I want to go for it as much as anyone.
But 4th and long?
Yeah, I don't think I would have there. That one seemed a little bit on the irrational side.
Fans might be a little angry at that
I'm
one.
going to hit you.
Officially, it will go as a 1-yard loss, and that's going to lead to a 3rd down. They haven't made much of this great starting field position they had. Here's 3rd and 6. Now Garoppolo gets this to his running back, Jordan Howard. Well, he's taken down, but not before picking up the first, thanks to a flashy little spin move. 8 yards, 1st down as they're able to convert. We're scoreless after 1.
Here we go. You don't want none, baby. You don't want none.
They'll run on 1st down. Carson. Give him a couple on the carry there. 2nd and 8. And as a first-rounder, a lot of eyes on him, a lot of expectation.
And he has to play well in his rookie year. Those days of coddling guys and bringing them along slowly, those days are long gone. When you're drafted in the 1st round, they expect you to play right away. And the community's eyes and fan base, they'll be on you the entire way.
They added a lot of talent to a roster that really needed an infusion of youth. They got a very good infusion of youth.
And they didn't really reach to get anyone as well. They stuck to their draft philosophy, got the best players they could at the time they were drafting, and inserted them into their lineup.
And he fires one that's intercepted. Picked off inside the 10. Then he will take it across midfield and down to the 45.
Brandon, And this is why golfers do their best to never count a score in their head before the ball goes in the cup. This looked like a slam dunk for points on this drive, didn't it? Instead, they throw an interception, and they're going to come away empty.
A nice-looking play to start the drive down the middle and complete. 23 yards, the final tally. Right after the turnover, they come out throwing.
And that means it's a sudden change situation. We used to practice it on defense. Sudden change, get out there, stop the offense. But you typically run out there a little bit unsettled.
And that is caught. Touchdown, Bears.
There we go. That's a touchdown.
From 21 yards away, as his guys are first onto the scoreboard here this afternoon. Now the Bears keeping the offense on the field and going for two. And partner, they found a gap there on the post pattern in the middle of the end zone.
And ordinarily, that's a tough spot to find because there's usually coverage to take away that portion of the field. But they found a gap, and they exploited it.
So they go with a pass there on the two-point try and able to convert it, Charles.
And a good job by the offense figuring out their two-point play and using it well. It's interesting how people are using the strategy nowadays, though, isn't it?
It really is, and I don't know how much that particular play factored in, but with the PAT moving back in 15-16, that kind of changed things, didn't it?
It's really a part of everyone's strategy now. When I talk with coaches and when we sit with them, they always talk about they actually have two-point periods in practice now, something they never really did before.
Here comes Jimmy Garoppolo now to lead his offense back out there. He's got to dig deep here, doesn't he? Team's losing. He's not playing well either.
They always tell you, don't press. You'll make things a little bit worse. But in this particular situation, you try and heighten your play a little bit. So far, he's thrown one interception. He wants to balance that off with at least one touchdown pass. In order to get his team back moving forward.
They run it with Carson. And this will be stopped at the 44. That one good for 7 yards.
And that's the kind of run that gets everyone excited on offense. And, you know, oftentimes the guys who carry the ball, the ones in the huddle doing the chirping, right now I think it's the offensive line telling them, run it again. We are right there about to break a big one. We think, Brandon, I like the intensity this defense is showing right here in these first few drives. They're not just holding the line because they're doing their job, but they're doing more than that, aren't they? They're getting a nice push into the offensive backfield.
And a great example right there for the loss on the tackle.
Come on, baby, let's go. Get excited. Let's go. Let's go. Here we go.
The Bears offense ready to go for their next drive. They've shown very little offensively to this point. Well, neither team has really. They come up here now, first down. They will get 4 yards here on the first down run, and that'll make it 2nd and 6. Call it a gain of 4 on first, and that'll make it 2nd down. They'll come up 2nd and 6 now from the 24. The throw over the middle, taken in. And he's brought down after a very nice gain. That one good for 26 and a first down. And defensively, they were in zone coverage there. Do you have to be a little careful? You're losing playing against a good quarterback like he is to not play too much zone?
Yeah, you have to be careful about how much time you're giving up. I think it's a good point you just brought up. So maybe if you still want to play zone, you go to a zone blitz scheme. And you can drop anyone out of your defensive front. Defensive end, defensive tackle. It doesn't matter. You just exchange someone to bring more pressure towards the quarterback and still try and cover downfield.
8-0 our score with 2 minutes left in the second quarter. A reminder, coming up at halftime, we'll head to Orlando. Standing by there, Jonathan Coachman. He'll have stats and scores from around the NFL in this second week of the regular season. And it's intercepted at the goal line. A great read, and it's picked off. And a short return to the 6-yard line. You don't see this often. A quarterback of his caliber, 2 first-half interceptions.
Here we go.
It's absolutely surprising because it happens so rarely. You're searching for what reason, what's going on out there. It's not just maybe the defense.
And he's going to go down. He backed up into the end zone, and this is going to wind up a safety. And, Charles, at some point, you can't keep worrying about big play. Can this be perfect? You just have to get the ball out of the end zone.
And in the offensive huddle, that was discussed when they called the play. Just get out of the end zone. But you know what's interesting? A lot of the times in the end of it, get a safety. So it's preached, it's coached, it's thought about.
Here's the Chicago offense coming back out onto the field. And 2 picks thrown here in this first half alone. We'll see how that affects him.
Can't wait to see where his confidence is, because the great ones, they'll throw 4 or 5 picks, and while it'll hurt their team, it won't hurt their confidence. They'll think something was just wrong with the ball or the wind or something was funny. It's never about them. That's how...
Nowhere to escape, and he goes down.